What's up everybody, Rob Banks. This is the Red Cup Review. Today we're looking at the Asmus Toys slim versions of Frodo and Sam from possibly one of the best trilogies of all time, that's the Lord of the Rings.
Frodo and Sam, everyone. Here's the tag team. Check it out. Asmus really knocked it out of the park here with their outfits. Their outfits are especially well done. Look at those hairy feet. We'll get into the hairy feet later. And the weapons are really, really well done. They are made of die cast. The head sculpts, although not super ridiculously good, are definitely a vast improvement from their first releases. We'll take a look at each individual slightly, a little bit more in detail, but they're definitely better than the first releases, and I like these figures. They're really cool. Who else and where else are you going to get awesome Lord of the Rings hobbits? Frodo Baggins in all of his Lord of the Ring type glory. The cloak does not have a wire running through it. It is very nice. It drapes nicely. The wire, there's a nice strong wire inside the hood. So you can have them kind of like, yeah, the dark side of the Frodo. There could have been a little bit more detail up in the hairpiece. You could see some of the lines from the sculpt and how it was kind of pieced together if you look really closely. But who looks at the top of these things' heads? The hair strands are very nice. The individual strands could have had some more detail in them, but they are. This is a much bigger improvement from the pictures I've seen from the last one. He does not suffer from, well, some people might think he does, from like sculpted helmet head, but I don't think so. I like it. The detail in the back of the hair is really cool as well. Then again, who poses their figures like this? Yay, look at my Frodo figure. The outfit is where Asmus really absolutely killed these figures on the outfits. They're great. This, I believe, is... What is this? What is this? Velvet? It's not velvet. It's suede. It's actually a suede-like material for his jacket, and it feels very high quality. The outfits on these figures feel very high quality. The buttons are all done nice, too. The buttons unbutton. Button. Where's the button? Yes, they do. You can see right there where they would snap in. Let's take a look at the precious, my precious. There's the precious. There is the one ring to rule them all. It would have been really cool if they would have been able to get the Elvish writing on the ring, but that would have been kind of impossible. The arms have a ratchet effect. This is on both figures, so I'll just go through this with the Frodo figure. The arms kind of, they're not ratchet arms, but they do kind of like go up and then stop, go up and then stop. So obviously be careful like you are with all these type of toys in the 1/6 scale universe, but they do hold. This figure is tight. It's tight, I tell you. To get the scabbard around his waist, you kind of put it around him like so, and then you slip it through this buckle. It comes through here. You guys seeing this? Goes up and then around. The instructions say this, and then you pull it through here. Be very careful with this, though, because it will kind of snap and break quite easily because it's thin. It's not bad, poorly made, it's just thin. And here's the scabbard itself. Let's take a look at some of the weathering effects on there, and it looks like real wood. It's not real wood, but it looks a lot like real wood, and that's cool. I believe all these pieces, whatever looks metal on this figure is actually die-cast metal, like the buckle and the pieces here. And then you get his little sword. His little Elvish sword. Elvis didn't have a sword. You put the sword in there, and it sits nice and neat. However, this does not really sit too snug in there, but that's okay, because you're really going to have them doing tumbles and flips. These figures aren't meant to be played with, they're meant to be displayed. So the pants are very well made as well. Let's pull the pants up. Hike those knees up there, boy. There's your joint in the knee, and when it comes down, you get a nice deep range of motion in there, and then you can hide the joint back around with the pants like that. So if you had a diorama of some kind and you bent the knees, you could have him sitting pretty well. The foot has like this hair is glued on, so you really don't want to rub on this or it'll come off glue wise. I would have preferred they did sculpted hair on the feet and then painted it really nicely, but this works too. I guess it gives it a little bit more of a realistic effect. However, it looks like it's just kind of like slapped on there. It doesn't really look like hairy feet as much as it looks like he's been trudging through the mud all day, and some grass and stuff is like kind of around his feet. Speaking of mud, bottom of the feet. Look at those nasty hobbit feet. he has the mud effect on them. They actually put weathering and splatterings of paint around the foot to make it look like he's been walking through the mud, because you know the hobbits, they always walk around barefoot. Here's Frodo without his cloak on. The head sculpt pops off like so. You want to grab it from here. Do not grab it from the face. The face is actually separate from this. I think it's glued on up there. I'm going to give you guys a nice look at what that looks like. Here we go. Pull it off. Put the figure down. Let's get a nice look in there. See how that is done? See how the peg joint is part of the hair? And then the face sculpt is kind of separated, this piece. So don't just go grabbing it by the face sculpt. You can see how it's separated under there too, right? So don't grab it by the face and pop it off. I hate putting light directly on figures because you lose all of the detail. The irises, come on, the irises could have had a tiny bit more detail in the paint. Paint's actually not bad. The skin tone is actually quite nice. Gets a nice couple of freckles in there, and the eyebrows are exceptionally well done. The ring, I wanted to show you guys. The ring can come off. Where are you? See that little clasp right there? You could undo that clasp and then slide the ring off of the chain and I guess put the ring on, but I wouldn't do that. I like it on the chain and around his neck. In addition to his sword sheath, this is what he comes with, and his cloak, that is, and we're talking about Frodo here. Here is the sword. It's got a little bit of weight to it, the elven sword, and it is made of metal. It is not that sharp up top. I get a little bit, I guess, and on the sides here is a little pokey, but you can see the engravings. This is done exceptionally well. There you go. I gotta get better lighting for these videos. These figures look much better in person than they do in any of the photography. Here's the little elven light that I think Sam is actually given this in the movie, but Frodo comes with it. This is the slim version, so he doesn't come with much, or much less than the regular release, but that's okay because it's actually a better release in my opinion, because I've seen the head sculpts on the other ones and I wasn't impressed. Here is the bag. It's made of a nice material. It's fluffy. It does not open. I'm sure you could open it if you break the stitch, but I'm not going to. It's like stuffed, so it's nice and fluffy. And it's got really, Asmus kills it when it comes to the accessories and the clothes on these figures. Again, don't be yanking at these. The stitching is done very nice and tight and well. However, these things aren't meant to be chucked around, and you know, if you're going to hang it from his shoulders, make sure you put it on there nice and easy. The instructions tell you how to do that. Here is a misstep on Asmus's part. The hands are alright. This hand is actually probably one of the better ones. The paintwork on this is actually pretty good, so this is not a good example of what I was trying to show you. However, give me a hand that has the... This is actually a pretty good hand too. Well, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about... Is this it? Is this the hand? There it is. See how you can see the lines running through? The sculpting. There, you see on that part right there? From what I noticed from the reviews that I watched, see running down the side here, you could actually see the molding casting. And that is a no-no. A big no on your part, especially on the knuckle area. It's quite unsightly. I know Asmus has had trouble with hand sculpts in the past. I'm sure if you took an X-Acto knife, you'd be able to get in there and separate these fingers and maybe sand them down or customize them. They're quite soft. This hand is a little more harder plastic, not as soft. You see how it's like the fingers like, oh, nice, and then there's like a little bit of webbing in between that figure there. You got to get yourself maybe a little X-Acto knife and go to work on them. But you shouldn't have to do that. See, there you go, with a figure of this magnitude. So some of the hands are done exceptionally well, and other ones not so much. Here it is. Here's the one that I had a big issue with. Look at that. This is a no good. See that? That is ugly as heck. So, come on, guys. You guys are right there. I mean, the clothing, excellent. The head sculpt's huge step forward. However, you get hands like this, I'm not going to have him with that hand. And if I do, it's going to be like holding something and kind of tucked away. That is an unsightly hand. So, you see that? You got the... and I'm not even really that picky when it comes to these type of figures and stuff, but that is a big no-no. Takes away from the realism effect. All right, that's it for Frodo. Let's take a look at Sam. I wasn't going to originally get Sam because I just kind of wanted Frodo, but how could you have Frodo and not have Sam. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. The face sculpt is much better than their first one, although it's not perfect. We'll do a side-by-side. Let's move them over and do a side-by-side with the real-life actor. And it's okay. Not great, but okay. Come on, man. We're going to do this stuff again where I can't get a nice look at the face. The irises on this one are a little bit better. You can see the green and the blue. So the iris colors are a little bit better on this one. Never shine a light directly in a figure's face, because that's not how it looks in person either. There's a nice gloss to the eye. This is just to show you like the blemishes and the stuff like that on the skin, because the paint is actually done pretty well. The hair, I don't know. I think I'm going to add a black wash to it. Again, the top of the head sculpt there, you can see the line running through it from the cast. The hair in the back is actually done pretty well. I think with a little bit of paint and some black wash, you could really bring out the sculpt on the head sculpt here. Like that. That's actually not too bad. On him, I think the hood might look even better. The clothes are really like the all-star of these figures. And I'm going to be reviewing a few. Here we go. This is suede again, I think. The outside of this cloak, or the inside rather. It's some kind of material that feels like suede. This is like a wool material almost. Underneath, you got the double shirts, you got his vest. The belt buckle, again, goes around. I showed you guys how to tie that up. This sword in here, the iron sword, actually holds a little bit better. It kind of fits in there a little bit more snug than Frodo's does. His little side pack. I'm going to kind of look at his accessories now as much as I can, instead of in the accessory section, because they were such a pain in the neck to get on. You could actually put stuff in here, which is nice, and it hangs over very nicely. Wait, let's take a look at his feet. Sculpt on the feet, very cool. Let's take a look at his accessories, or at least most of them. He comes with this backpack, which the flap opens up, and it's got a little piece of Velcro there. You could open up. Like snaps on down there, and there's stuffing in there that you can kind of pull out, but it keeps it nice and puffy, like he's got stuff in there. And all these are his accessories. Let's take a look at all of... Whoa! Don't fall back, guy. Come on, guy. Alright, I gotta readjust the light as we go through this. Little pouches that are stitched on there very nicely. The stitching work is nice and clean on here. Nothing was like frayed or falling off. All of his little pots and pans. Now what they do is, there's a little hook right here. If you could see that little hook right there. That hook unlatches to this. It says the leather strap. It's not a leather strap. It's a piece of material. The material strap fits in there nicely. It's a nice little hole, and it's not going to rip off unless you yank it. Then what you do is you take all these little accessories which have holes in them. They're threaded, and you thread the material through the holes. The reason why I'm not taking those out, because it was ridiculously hard for me to put them on. Why? Because the holes in most of the accessories that I got were very tight. So you want to slip them in as best as you can, and then use a small, very small tweezer to kind of pull them through and thread them through. Be very careful with threading them. This was probably the easiest to go on, and is that plastic? It's got metal piece components to it, and it's got a nice little opening in there too. You could actually put stuff in there. You can make yourself some taters. Taters? What's taters, precious? And he's got a little wooden spoon. The spoon itself, I think that's wood. It feels wooden. And all these other accessories have a nice little metal feel. I don't know if they're die cast, but I don't know. They're pretty nice, though. They're very nice and well made, and the paintwork on them is excellent. Excellent, excellent work with the accessories on Sam. And then they all hang off of his backpack, and what you do is you kind of separate them back here like this. Like you can separate the pots and put the thing over there, and then kind of... and it stays down. Okay, then he runs around with his little backpack. The blanket does not come out. You could probably take it out and unravel it, but I'm not going to. But it's all tied in there and stitched in there, so you'd probably have to like cut the stitching out in order to get the blanket out. And then this is a separate piece. You put that on as well. And now he's all geared up and ready to go on his journey. And that's pretty much Sam's accessories, with the exception of a few more hands and his trademark pipe. Here's his pipe. The pipe actually, again, the sculpts on these are really nice. It has the hole in there, and it's wood, and it's got a little bit of, it even has a little bit of like tar paint. Come on, can we get a nice, there you go. Can you see that? I hope you could see that. Come on. Show it. There you go. You see the tar right there? That's from him puffing on his pipe all day. The pipe does not go in his mouth. However, I'm sure you could fit it into one of his hands. Here you go. Here's the hand for holding the pipe. And it fits in there quite nicely. Look at that. I just did that right now. He's got his sword. This sword is not like Frodo's sword. It's not as heavy. I think this one's actually plastic. But the paint works nice. And it makes it look the way it's supposed to. It's a little sharper too.
To close things out, I'm going to tell you that these figures are pretty excellent, especially for the price point at 110 to 115 a piece. They are much smaller than your average 1/6 scale figure, but, you know, they should be. They're hobbits, right? Currently don't have any other Lord of the Rings Asmus figures, but this will give you an idea of what he looks like next to some Hot Toys, height-wise. That's basically what this little clip is for. And he looks like he checks out pretty well. The clothing on these things is absolutely excellent. The head sculpts are a very, very big improvement over their first releases. I'm going to give Frodo 3 3/4 to 4 cups because, I mean, where else are you going to get awesome Lord of the Rings figures like this? Plus, I really enjoy them. I think they look really nice. The clothes, I can't keep telling you how awesome the clothes are on these, and the tailoring was done excellently.
It's a sturdy figure, too.
It's very sturdy, and it's not
full.
loose. It's not going to, look, everything is, it doesn't shake, it doesn't move. You get the poses, and it keeps its poses. So that's how many I'm giving Frodo. Sam I'm going to give, see, I want to give him just as many because his accessories and his tailoring is just so great. However, his face sculpt is not quite the Elijah Wood sculpt that we get here. So I'm going to give him 3 cups flat, although his clothing and his accessories are more on like the 4.5, 5. All their clothing, the tailoring on these figures is 5. Like, they're like 4 3/4 to 5 cups. However, they're just not there yet with the sculpts. They're not perfect, but they're really close and they're really improving. So I'm going to be a little bit more lenient with them this time. The Sam sculpt could have been a little bit better. It's still better than the first release, but that's it. He's getting 3. Frodo's getting 3 3/4 to 4. This is the Red Cup review. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to subscribe, Precious. Subscribe, Precious. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Red Cup review.